I'm Olushola, your automation expert, and today I'm going to be walking you through a solution I built for a client who needed help managing and delivering automation projects more efficiently. So I'm going to walk you through the automation delivery from intake to execution. So the client in question is a growing organization that receives multiple requests via chat, emails, meetings, and the challenge was simple but costly. The requests were getting lost, follow-ups were manual, project timelines were unclear, and there was no visibility into what was going on and what the progress was. So I designed a structured system in Monday.com that manages the entire life cycle of their request from intake to delivery in order to resolve this problem. And the goal was simple, to create one source of truth, to reduce manual coordination, and to improve visibility between the delivery team and the stakeholders, and ultimately save time. So briefly, I'm going to show you the intake board, which is the client automation request where everything starts from. And then from there, we progress to the project view, the task breakdown, the dashboard, and it'll be a wrap. So let's start from the intake process. The client would usually receive requests from email, chat, meetings, and informal, other way of having data. Now, just as a disclaimer, this is not the real data for the client. It's been sanitized, but this is just for the purpose of the demo. So previously, requests were coming from these channels, like I mentioned, and the client struggled to put them all into one source of truth. I replaced that with a form, a single form intake that fits directly into the intake request board for the client. Now, this is the form here, and we're going to do a quick demo to see how that translates into the new request group in the board. Now, if you look at the new request group, you can try and get a sense of what is there, and let's create a new one and see what happens. So a new request is coming in from a customer, and they need a chatbot. So many manual entries that they currently do, and they don't have enough people to support that work. And this is just a test. Complexity, we'll pick medium, expected outcome, to have a chatbot. What is the urgency level? We can say medium as well. When is the preferred start date? We'll put 13th. And once the customer is done filling the form, they click on submit, and that automatically feeds into the dashboard for my client. Now, as you can see, we have it in here, demo, which was just created now, and it automatically assigns a user, it notifies the project owner, and all this is done via automation. Now, each of these requests in the form captured the consistent information like client name, the complexity, the business impact, and this immediately reduced the back and forth and actually improved decision making. If you look at the new request group, this is the new request we've just received, and all interested parties and stakeholders have been notified as well through automations. Once reviewed, approvals will trigger the automation that have been set, and that converts the request into a live project. So no manual copying, no missed handoff. Let's give it a try. So for this demo, I'm going to change the approval status to approved. It could be pending, it could be rejected, it could be under review. When a new request comes in, it stays as pending. Again, this has been done via automation. But once it goes to approved, then automatically the automation sets in, as you can see here. And when I scroll down, I can see it under the converted to project. Now it becomes a project. It means the request has been reviewed and approved, and it's set for a project to begin. This alone saved my client hours in each week that were previously spent tracking requests and clarifying requirements. Now, moving on to the project board, Once a request is being approved to become a project from the intake board, automations are in place to move this to the project dashboard. Now, in the project dashboard, once it comes in here, it's automatically assigned a status of planning. So approved request that automatically becomes project with owners, timelines, and calculated due dates comes onto the project board. Now, instead of guessing timelines, I used complex basic logic dependencies to create realistic delivery schedules. Now, you have the start date, you have the due dates, you can calculate the due dates as well. You have the status, if there are dependencies, I included it in here. I also used functionalities called Mirror, a feature called Mirror in Monday.com, so that to avoid any re-entry of data that already exists on another board. So Mirror helps you to bring it onto the new board by connecting the two boards together. And this helped the client move from reactive delivery to predictable execution. Similarly, the request from clients, the project to be done, also moves through different stages on the board. You have the planning, you have in progress, you have blocked, you have review, and then you have delivered. And all the stages also runs on automations. Let's look at the automation for this board. So you have automation that speaks to when the status changes. You have automation that speaks to when an item is created. You have automation that speaks to when the status changes from review or blocked or in progress, when we want to notify the product or project owner when the status changes to blocked. You're trying to call the attention. That is also possible. And you even have for sub items. When sub items are done, it reflects back to the parent and then it moves to delivered. Also, we have automations related to due dates and the likes. Moving on from the project view to the task breakdown. Now, each project is further broken down into clear tasks and dependencies. And automation will handle the routine work involved, whether you're doing status changes, you want to send reminders, you want to notify a team member, or you want to flag any delay that is happening on this task. I built automations that helped me to be able to move along this. So, for example, gather requirements, I can change it to done and check for the QA approved as well and make sure it's approved, and automation kicks in. That's because I set an automation to say when the status is done and QA is approved, then it should move it to completed, which you can see in here. Not only that, it's also going to notify the project owner that you have a task that is now completed. Now, instead of chasing updates, the system does the chasing. This reduced a lot of manual follow-ups and allowed the team to focus on actual delivery. Now, I've been able to take you through the intake request, when it becomes a project, and breaking those projects down into smaller component called tasks, and how we're able to progress those tasks from the backlog items all the way to completed. Now, let's take a look at the dashboard I was able to build. Now, the dashboard at any point in time helped my clients to see what is in progress, what is blocked, and what is delivered. So whether through the intake or through the project or through the timelines currently existing, my client will be able to see. Also, if any project is coming due, there's also a calendar for my clients to see and be able to take action. So this visibility improved accountability and reduced status meetings, thereby saving tons of hours for my projects. Overall, the client gained faster intake to delivery turnaround, fewer delays caused by missed hands-off, clear ownership across teams, and significant time savings by eliminating manual coordination. So, in summary, this solution transformed how the client manages their automation requests. Instead of managing tasks manually, they now operate through a system that supports clarity, efficiency, and scale using Monday.com. This is the kind of structure that allows organizations to grow without increasing operational friction. So if you're looking to reduce manual work, improve visibility, and build systems that scale, I'm very happy to explore how automation can support your goals to achieve this. Thank you.